they will have the time, the ability now to review the lecture that we had today. No, so for the purpose of informing you, I'd like to tell you that I will be recording the lecture that we have today. Okay lang po ba yun? Nag-agree po ba ang lahat? Thumbs up nga po kung nag-agree. Sa emoticons, I'm sorry. High-tech kasi kailangan lahat yan, emoticons. All right. So when we say IMRAD, that is the acronym for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. And when we say IMRAD format, that is what we call the publishable research format that we are utilizing. So why do we need to use IMRAD format? First of all, this is used for publication in international journals. No, if you would like your paper to be published in internationally reputable journal, then you need to use IMRAD format. And why do we need to publish? Because we would like to disseminate the findings of our study so that when we publish our paper, there is a possibility that our findings will be utilized by the readers. Utilization may be in two forms. It may be adapted using policy, no? Policy reformulation. Ibig sabihin kung yung paper ninyo ay about practices sa departamento, yung findings noon pwedeng gamiting policy ng departamento. Example, your topic is about human resource management and you would like to know whether compensation and benefits would have an effect on the work performance of the PNP employees. And then after doing that research, you found out that the compensation and benefits, meaning to say, the higher the compensation and the better the benefits, the better the work performance. Parang in layman's term, nakakatulong pala sa performance ng mga police yung compensation and benefits. So that is an example of a finding na kung ikaw ay nasa position na, halimbawa ikaw ay, ano bang pinakamataas sa position sa departamento nyo ngayon? May I know? Ngayon, dyan sa office niyo, anong pinakamataas na position? Yung nagde-decide na for the department. Sargento ba mataas na? Pinakamataas? DJ?
Sa station, sir.
Station, no?
Ay, sir. Sergeant DJ, please.
Sige. Saan sir sa provincial officer, police director sir. Tapos every section chiefs, meron po kaming chief of officer, like police major sir.
Ay, chief of office. Yung chief of office ba yon? Yung chief na yon ay may capability na mag-recommend ng salary increase? Promotion?
Actually sir, depende po yun eh. Kasi may sinusunod po kaming salary
grade.
Base, opo, depende sa binigay nila ng civil service at saka ng NAPOLCOM at karami sir.
Civil service, no? Tama yun. So, ibig sabihin, if you found out that the compensation and benefits are greatly affecting the performance, pwede nyo i-recommend sa policy research paper ninyo, pwede kayo mag-recommend na they further study the kind of compensation and benefits that you are receiving. No? Kasi you found out that these compensation and benefits are affecting the work performance of the PNP employees. Pero alam ko ngayon ng mga pulis, matataas ng sweldo, matataas ng salary grade eh. Kaya ngayon ba kailangan mag-aral eh, kailangan mag-attend ng mga training, etc., etc. Kasi ang alam ko, correct me if I am wrong, when you get a degree, the more that you get the chance to get promoted. Tama ba? So ganun yun. So ibig sabihin, yung findings ng study can be utilized, kaya meron ditong utilization in the implementation of the program or in your workplace. And also, the findings of your study, if you publish in an international journal or any journals, your findings can be cited when future researchers conduct their research paper. You can be cited now. So aside from being an author, isa-cite ka na ngayon. Kung dati researcher ka, ngayon ay isa ka na sa mga sinasite. So that's the beauty of publishing your research paper. And alam ko, during our first day, first meeting, na-discuss ko na tong research process, tama ba? Familiar na kayo dito, no? So I don't need to discuss this anymore because you already are familiar with the research process that are the different phases that are employed in doing a research paper, from conceptualization phase up to the dissemination phase. Natatandaan niyo pa ba o nasama na dun sa quitis na pinaputok niyo nung ano nung New Year? Natatandaan pa ba, yes or no? Para ma-review natin kung hindi na i-review ko. Kung natatandaan pa, hindi na, para maka-save tayo ng time. Natatandaan pa? Yes or no? Ha? Teka lang, magtatanong ako para
May notes po sir yung iba sir. Ewan ko lang po sa ibang classmates sir kung anong ano nila.
Ikaw Sir Manuel, natatandaan mo ba to? Magti-thesis writing ka, no? Itong process na to natatandaan na? Sige, kung hindi na...
Na-view ko lang po sir pero hindi ko na masyadong
alright. So anyway, there are 5 phases that are involved when you write a research paper, either chapters 1 to 4 or IMRAD format. The first phase is conceptualization phase. This is the phase, as the term implies, where you conceptualize a research paper by identifying a topic. So mag-identify ka muna ng topic, and then after that, after identifying a topic, you search for literature. You review the literature, and then you develop the hypothesis, framework, and objectives of your study. If you are done with those 5 steps, you call it conceptualization phase. After conceptualizing your research paper, that's the time that you proceed to the design phase. Design phase is actually research plan formulation. Mamaya, i-discuss natin to in detail, no? The research design that you're going to use, the instrument, the respondents that you're going to employ in your study, the ethical consideration, and of course, the data processing and statistical treatment. Now, if you are done with the conceptualization phase and the design phase, para tong proposal defense. In short, si Mr. Manuel, ito ay chapter 1 mo, tsaka chapter 2. No? Pero kung ito ay IMRAD, yung conceptualization phase ay introduction, ang design phase ay methodology. Once your paper, Mr. Manuel, is approved, you go to empirical phase, and that is what you call data gathering or data collection. That's the time that you gather your data, and this time, face-to-face is not allowed. Alam naman nating lahat yan. So you need to be innovative in such a way that you are going to develop an online, online survey form, no, in gathering your data. After gathering your data, you need to make sense of your data, and that is what you call analytical phase. Analytical phase is the phase where you analyze your data, you interpret them, and you make necessary conclusions. The rule of thumb is that your objectives must be aligned with your data analysis, with your interpretation, and with your conclusion. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka magkakaroon ng conclusion and interpretation kung wala kang datang pinresent. Bawal po yun. Dapat yung conclusion mo ay based lamang sa data. Hindi ka magkakaroon ng conclusion kung wala kang data. Naalala ko tuloy ngayon yung yung very current na nangyari sa isang PAL tawag ito, flight attendant, no, na nababasa ko ngayon sa mga news feed ko na first day pa lang may conclusion na raw na rape slay case nang wala pang medical legal, no? Nako, recorded pala ito, yari ako. Pero the point is that when you make conclusion, dapat meron ka munang basis. And the basis of any research, kahit sa inyo, applicable to sa mga police, when you make any conclusions or any statements, lalo kayo na-interview sa media, when you say rape slay case, dapat and case closed na, dapat meron mga evidences na i-present before sinabi na yun ay rape slay. That is what you call analytical phase. Dapat data-based, evidence-based, no? Kaya lang, ang nabasa ko lang, correct me if I'm wrong, you can comment, no? You can disagree. Ang nabasa ko, parang ang bilis nagbigay ng decision or ng conclusion yung ating mga investigators without waiting for medical legal first. Kaya lang sa medical legal, wala namang lumabas na hymen disruption. So parang naro-rule out yung rape case. So parang lumalabas na yung aneurysm niya is due to overtoxicity. Ibig sabihin na overdose. So parang lumalabas pa nga na nag-drugs yata sila kaya yung flight attendant ay hindi nakayanan ng kanyang puso, pumutok, nagkaroon ng aneurysm. Ibig sabihin aortic aneurysm from heart pumunta sa brain. So yun, para siyang typical na stroke na pinutokan ng ugat. So ibig sabihin, my point is that kahit ang mga doctors, before nagbibigay ng diagnosis yan, naghihintay muna ng medical result. We do not make conclusions or generalizations or any statements kung wala pa tayong data na gagather. That is why I am highlighting here the empirical phase. Na before you make any conclusion, yung number 9 na yan, dapat may data ka muna na pinipresent. Mr. Manuel, ganun sa defense. Hindi ka pwedeng magbigay ng mga conclusions mo kasi pinapaupo ko ni Doc Dali sa mga defenses Baka maupuan kita sa defense mo. Pag nagbigay ka ng mga data mo, dapat yan ay galing sa evidences. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-conclude nang wala kang evidences. In fact, tomorrow, may defense ang DAB, so invited ako tomorrow morning. So possible na pag nag-proposal at final defense ka na ma-invite ako ni Doc Dali. And then after actually yung analytical phase, that is chapters 3 and 4. Or sa IMRAD format, yan yung results and discussion. So yung conceptualization and design, yun ang intro and methods. And then yung analytical phase, yun yung results and discussion. And then, of course, one of the highlights of the CHED Memorandum Order number 15, series of 2019, according to that memorandum, all papers in the graduate school must be published. Kaya dapat maturuan kayo ng publication. And para mag-publish yung research paper ninyo, dapat IMRAD ang gagamitin. So ito yung tinatawag na dissemination phase. This is where we communicate, and when we communicate the findings of the study, the future researchers can utilize the findings of our research paper. Tingnan nyo, umikot siya sa conceptualization phase because future researchers now can utilize the findings of the study. How? When future researchers review the literature, tingnan nyo rito yung number 2, doon magkakaroon ng utilization ng findings. So it's a cycle. It's a process, no? Na sinasabi natin. So that is what you call research process. Nag-compre na po ba kayo yung mga nasa non-thesis?
Hindi pa po, sir.
Hindi pa.
Sir.
Very good. So dapat namnamin niyo to kasi since ako yung teacher niyo sa research, ako yung nagbibigay ng questions sa research. So isa to sa mga tinatanong ko. Ayan meron na kayong tip. Isa yun sa mga tinatanong ko sa compre question na dapat you are aware, hindi lang aware, you should be knowledgeable on the scientific process, on the scientific research process in doing a research paper. And since this is scientific, this is step-by-step procedure. Kaya tingnan nyo, you will not reach step number 10 without going through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Dapat yun step-by-step procedure. So that is the research process. So what are now the parts of a publishable paper? Para makapag-decide kayo kung ito yung pipiliin ninyo. I-discuss ko yung mga parts. So as I've said, the parts of the research paper in general is IMRAD ang format. But of course, that the paper should have a title, and according to APA, the title must not be more than 12, must not be more than 10 to 12 content words. Content words. Ano yung content words? Ito yung mga variables mo. No? Ano yung mga non-content words? Tatanggalin mo yung mga of, the, are, o, ganyan. Bawas sa bilang yon. And then of course, after the title, the proponents or the author. Kung dalawa kayong author, the authors, no? And then after that, abstract. After the abstract, according to APA, is not more than 120 words. And this abstract must contain the following. Apat ang composition ng abstract. Objectives of the study, methods employed in the study, findings or results, and conclusions. Apat lang po yun. Pag pinagsama-sama mo yun, ang tawag doon, abstract. No? And then of course, after ito yung example na published research paper wherein you can see the title of the research paper, the authors, and even the connections of the different authors are here where they are connected. Kasi there sometimes multiple authors would have multiple organizations also. And then after that, ito na yung abstract. Ito yung sinasabi kong apat na components: aims or objectives, methods, results or findings, and conclusion. Tapos kung nakapublish siya, nahanapan ka ng keywords. Pag sinabing keywords, ito yung mga variables ng study mo. These are the key terminologies of your study. And then correspondence, bakit may correspondence? Yan yung contact details ng mga authors. Just in case, for example, you would like to contact them for one reason. For example, you would like to borrow the questionnaire that the former author utilized in his study. Pwede yun. Kaysa mag-develop ka pa ng sarili mong instrument, you can contact the author and then you may ask the reliable instrument already. And then if this is published, you will notice here the time, the date, the paper was received, the paper was revised, and the paper was fully accepted. Ito yung part na to. And then according to APA 7th edition, dapat lahat ng paper ay meron DOI. Ano yung sabihin ng DOI? Data Object Identifier. Ang ibig sabihin ng Data Object Identifier in layman's term, if you copy this number, this mixture of numbers and letters, if you copy that and paste that in the URL, and then in-enter mo, you will now be led to the page where the paper was published. Yun. Yun ang Data Object Identifier. Kaya alam mo na nakapublish siya kapag meron Data Object Identifier. So that is the abstract, no? Of course, we will now proceed to the highlight of the publishable research paper, which is introduction. When it's the introduction, this is the careful presentation of the importance and validity of the problem. And there is a systematic and orderly presentation of background information with educational trends. In your case, kahit wala ng educational, siguro trends na lang, no? Or public administration trends related to the problem, unsolved issues, and social concerns. So that is the contents of the introduction. Remember that we do research because there is a problem. And you must be able to establish a problem. And the problem must be valid. There should be a validity of the problem. How would you know if your problem is valid or not? There are two reasons why we do research. One, there is a blind spot. Narinig nyo na ba yun sa dating meeting natin?
Yes po.
Okay, good. Blind spot means after identifying a topic, you search the literature. However, there are so many literature related to your topic. However, the findings of the literature or the study are contradicting with one another. they're conflicting with one another. Example, 20 authors found out that compensation and benefits can greatly impact the performance of PNP employees. However, there are 30 authors who found out that compensation and benefits do not have any impact on PNP employees' performance. Parang ganon. So you will see that there are contradicting findings, conflicting findings. Ang tawag doon ay blind spot. On the other hand, there is what we call blank spot. Sampulan ko kayo, halimbawa, aside sa compensation and benefits, for example, ang work performance ba ng employees ay nakadepende sa pagiging fashionable nila? O kasi meron na ngayong meron mga police ngayon na very fashionable, no? Kasi pag yung uniform nyo pa lang, tindig pa lang, may pagka-fashionable na. Dati hindi ganyan ang uniform nyo. Bakit nga pala nabago ang uniform niyo? Dahil sa COVID? Dahil sa COVID ba yan?
Yes, sir.
Dati hindi ganyan ang uniform nyo eh. So, ang
Yes,
tanong
sir.
ngayon na pinalitan, nagkaroon ng konting fashion statement. Ang naging mas, di ko naman sinasabing hindi presentable in dating uniform, pero parang mas ngayon, mas protected kayo. Ang tanong ngayon, is your uniform a factor para mag-perform ang mga police? Parang ganun ang iyong topic, no? Pero after searching the literature, there is no literature about those topics, about that topic, about the way you dress, the way you wear your uniform and your performance. Ibig sabihin, walang nakasulat na literature about your uniform and your performance. Ibig sabihin, it doesn't follow na kung anong klaseng uniform ang suot mo tapos magpe-perform ka. So ang tawag doon ay blank spot. Pag wala pa masyadong nakasulat na literature or na research related to your topic, ang tawag doon ay blank spot. No? So anong gagawin mo doon? Pwede ka pa rin gumawa ng research because that is still a problem. Blind spot or blank spot are what we call indicators of problem in research. However, ang pagkakaiba nila, pag sinabi nating blind spot, your main goal is to test the hypothesis. Iti-test mo whether compensation and benefits can really affect the performance of the employees. Testing the hypothesis. So in short, ang gagamitin mo doon is quantitative research design. Quantitative. We do hypothesis testing if our design is quantitative or vice versa. We use quantitative research design if our problem is a blind spot. Because our goal is to test the hypothesis. Paano naman kung blank spot ang nakita mo? If you found out that there is a blank spot, ibig sabihin, sa Tagalog, kokonti, no? Yung nakita mong literature. There is a dearth or limited literature related to your topic. So therefore, your goal is no longer to test the hypothesis. Rather, you are now to generate hypothesis or framework. Hindi testing, kundi generation. If you are going to generate hypothesis, you are now going to use qualitative research design. So that is the big difference between quantitative and qualitative. It will always depend on the kind of problem that you are going to discover. Kaya nga ang paggawa ng research, kailangan nagbabasa. You cannot write something if you have not read anything yet. No? Kaya kailangan dito marami kang nabasang literature. Pag marami kang nabasang literature at ang mga findings ay contradicting, blind spot yon, quantitative research design. Nag-try ka magbasa ng literature pero wala masyadong related dun sa topic mo, blank spot ang tawag doon, therefore qualitative ang gagamitin mo. Maliwanag po ba yon? Okay. So sa introduction, you need to establish, kaya nakalagay rito, careful presentation of the importance and validity of the problem. The problem must be valid para magtuloy siya. In writing your introduction, kanina, sabi niya kanina, i-discuss ko daw muna para malaman niyo kung kaya niyo. No? Sige, bigyan ko kayo ng tip kung paano isusulat ang introduction. Meron tinatawag na TIOC approach. TIOC approach. What is letter T? You highlight the trends. T stands for the trend. Pag sinabing trend o trending, makabago o makaluma?
Makabago.
Makabago. Therefore, when you write a research paper, you will always consult the latest literature. Hindi kayo magbabasa ng mga lumang literature kasi trend nga eh. So what about the trend? If, for example, your topics are, going back to our example, your topics are compensation and benefits and work performance of PNP employees, then you need to write anything about compensation and benefits according to author and work performance of PNP employees according to literature. Bakit ko palagi sinasabing according to literature? Dapat evidence-based palagi. Your opinion, my dear colleagues, my dear PNP colleagues, hindi pala ako PNP, my dear students na lang in research, your opinion is not needed in writing the introduction. Take note of that. This is scientific writing. And when you say scientific writing, dapat scholar ka. Pag sinabing scholar ka, pag tinawag kang scholar, matalino ka. At pag matalino ka, lahat ng sinasabi mo ay merong basihan. Pero pag ang sinasabi mo ay walang basihan, hindi ka matalino. Anong tawag doon? Kapag walang basihan ang sinasabi mo. Kapag galing kung saan-saan lang yung sinasabi mo, anong tawag doon? Tulungan niyo nga ako maghanap ng word para doon.
Chismoso.
Chismoso.
Puro hearsay lang, sir.
Puro hearsay lang. Nako po, yun ang ayaw natin sa research. Research po ito, bawal po ang chismisan sa... bawal po ang chismisan.
Kwentong kotsero.
Oo, kwentong barbero at kotsero, bawal po yun. Lahat po na isusulat natin sa research ay evidence-based. Therefore, going back to what I'm saying, when you highlight the trends about, for example, compensation and benefits and work performance, those trends must be coming from the literature. Okay, tingnan nyo, hindi kayo makapagsulat ng introduction kung hindi kayo nagbasa ng literature. Kaya ang pagbabasa ay pinaka-importante. Isa sa mga pinaka-importanting aspeto ng research writing, magbabasa muna talaga kayo. After highlighting the trends, you now pinpoint the issues, the problem, or the gap. Magkakaparehas lang sila. They are synonymous in the field of research. When you say issue, you are referring also to the problem, and you are also referring to the gap. In layman's term, kapag nagkaroon kayo ng gap ng friendship mo, hindi kayo nag-uusap, may issue. May problem kayo, kaya kayo may gap. Yun. Yan ang layman's term noon. Pero hindi friendship mo ang hahanapin mo rito, literature ang hahanapin mo. Maghahanap ka ng gap sa literature. Ano yung gap sa literature? These are findings, these are authors whose findings are conflicting with one another. Para bagang dalawang tao na nagde-debate kasi magkaiba yung sinasabi. Ang pagkakaiba lang ang hahanapin nyo ngayon, findings na nagtatalo-talo, na nagkakaiba-iba ng findings. Ang tawag doon ay problem, issues, or gap. And as I've said kanina, gaps may be in the form of blind spot or blank spot. Either marami yung literature but they are contradicting with one another, or wala. So therefore, ang gagawin mo sa wala, mag-generate ka. Sa marami, isa-solve mo yung gap nila. Yet that is the actual research problem indicator that you need to present. Halimbawa, you may say na, in the study conducted by Manuel in 2018, he found out that compensation and benefits can significantly influence the work performance of PNP employees. In example kita, Mr. Manuel, okay lang po ba?
Okay lang, sir.
Okay lang, o sige. However, tas dudugtungan mo yon. However, Corpus in 2019 found out that compensation and benefits do not significantly affect the performance of PNP employees. So nakita nyo yon? So nananahimik yung mga tao, pinag-aaway-away nyo. Yun ang tawag doon ay issues, problem, or gap. Nananahimik yung mga authors. Yung mga writers, tapos pag-aaway-awayan nyo. No choice kayo because you need to present the issues of your research paper. And that is what you call pinpointing the issue. So T, I, and then that is followed by O. What is O? You now state the overall objective or intent of the paper in the light of the gap identified. So syempre, you now know the problem, you need to solve the problem. Syempre, pag may problem, gagawa ka ngayon ng objective. Ano ngayon ang objective mo? Pwede mo sabihin na, it is now the intention or the overall objective of the paper to determine whether compensation and benefits can really affect the work performance of PNP employees. Parang ganon. Yun ang overall objective mo. And finally, what will now be the contribution of your paper? The contribution of the paper can be in advancing or improving the theory, research, practice, and policy. When you say theory research, you are now contributing to the body of knowledge. Nadagdag ka ngayon doon sa body of knowledge. Pag sinabi natin practice and policy, the findings of this study can be adapted by the human resource management. Or in your case, ang nag-evaluate sa inyo, ang nagbibigay ng increase sa inyo, Civil Service Commission. Pero I'd like to think merong mga merong mga head na ini-evaluate yung mga staff nila. Meron bang ganun sa PNP? Tapos yung evaluation, tama. Yung evaluation gagamitin na pang-increase ng salary. Possible ba 'yon sa PNP? Ginagawa ba 'yon?
Actually, sir, hindi siya sa salary, sir. May mga tatawag kasi sila na, like for example, yung performance-based bonus.
Ayun.
Mga performance evaluation rating, sir. Mga ganun po.
Ayun. Okay. So pwede itong mag-contribute doon sa practice and policy that through this study, now that you know, for example, now that you know that if your findings of your study revealed that compensation and benefits can affect the performance of the employees, then the heads, the boss, the HR can come up with HR programs that will further improve the performance of the employees by for example, by giving them rewards, mga reward system, no? Mga performance-based bonus, pwedeng dagdagan. Alam ko meron naman, pwede man dagdagan, parang ganun. So yun ang tinatawag nating introduction, how to write introduction. And that is what you call introduction of the IMRAD format. Any question about in writing the introduction? Mukhang madali naman, ano? Mukhang kayang-kaya. Let's proceed to methodology. Wag na yan. Methodology. Hindi ko na i-discuss yan kasi yung diretso na tayo sa methodology. Ayan. When you say methods, there are different nomenclatures that are involved in methodology. When you say research approach, your concern is how data will be gathered, will be treated, rather. When you say research method, your concern is how data will be gathered. When you say technique, your concern is what data should be gathered or will be gathered. But what is important when you write your methodology is you are familiar with the research designs, no? You should have a concise description of the research method and justification for its choice. And of course, there should be a sufficient description or field procedures followed in the collection of data, such as when, where, and how data are to be collected. Now, these methods is kind of lengthy kasi you need to be familiar with the different research designs such as quantitative and qualitative research design. Familiar na po ba kayo or hindi pa?
Hindi pa, sir.
Hindi pa.
Hindi pa, sir.
Sige.
Hindi pa, sir.
Pasadahan lang natin ang research design natin, no? So when you say research design, one of them is descriptive research. Without reading the entire description, your goal is to describe the prevailing conditions. Describing the prevailing conditions, including the cause and effect relationships, and then making adequate interpretation using statistical methods. So since this is under quantitative research design, as the term implies, numerical siya. And therefore, if that is numerical, siya ay gagamit ng statistical tests. Kaya dapat familiar kayo sa mga statistical tests natin. But under descriptive research, there are so many designs. Meron tinatawag na case studies, no? Meron din tinatawag na surveys, assessment or evaluation studies, comparative studies, correlational studies, tracer studies, trends and projection studies, and even documentary analysis. By the way, these are the different descriptive research design na actually pwedeng magkaroon ng combination ng 2 or more designs in one research paper. Halimbawa, ang design mo ay case studies pero nag-survey ka din. Or nag-correlational study ka pero nag-survey ka din. Parang ganon. Or nag-correlational studies ka pero nag-documentary analysis ka din. So we will discuss them one by one. So when you say case study, which is I think very applicable to PNP. Kasi marami kayong mga cases, ano? And you make a thorough investigation of the case, and that is what you call case study. It is a type of detailed and in-depth research involving few respondents, ranging from 1 to a small size of less than 10 over a considerable period of time. Kaya usually, when you say case study, tanong ko muna, gumagawa ba kayo ng case study sa PNP?
Case
Yes, sir,
review
meron po.
usually, sir.
Yun. Therefore, pag gumawa kayo ng case study, hindi siya nasa-solve ng one day lang. Take note considerable period of time. Kasi nga case study, pag-aaralan mo lahat ng anggulo di ba? And take note, pag sinabing case study, hindi kailangan ng maraming respondents. Minsan, isa lang yan. 1 hanggang 10. Yun nangyari nga. Balikan ko yung bagong-bago ngayon. Yung rape slay case. Tingnan niyo yung mga suspects, no? Suspects pa lang yun, ha? Ibig sabihin, di ba pag sinabing suspect, hindi pa guilty? Hindi pa, kumbaga, iniimbestigahan pa lang. Tingnan niyo yung na-involve. Sabi dun sa balita, 11 ba? Updated ba kayo dun sa balita?
10, sir.
Yes, sir.
11, sir.
11?
11.
Alam ko 11 Dinig ko 11
Anak yun. Kasama yung anak ni Claire de la Fuente.
Yung isa anak pa ni Claire de la Fuente. At tinatanggi ng mga suspects yung rape case kasi imposible daw dahil sila daw ay member ng LGBT community. So hindi rin nila pwedeng rapein yung flight attendant na yun. So ibig sabihin, that is an example of a case study na konti lang yung possible na respondent mo. Kasi bakit? Saan ka naka-focus? Doon sa problem. Ano yung problem na sinosolve mo? Whether the case is a rape case or a simple accident of aneurysm or a natural death. Baka naman natural death yun, parang ganon. Kaya lang yun nga, nababasa ko sa social media, parang pinangalanan yung 11 na parang as if sila yung mga mga rapist nung namatay. Kaya lang ang sabi nga ng anak ni Claire, yung artista? Singer ba yung artista?
Singer, artist.
Singer,
Claire de la Fuente.
Claire de la Fuente. siya daw ay member ng LGBT community, imposible daw na rape niya yung kaibigan niya. So parang ganon. So that case actually is an example of a case study. And take note ha, considerable period of time. Kasi kailangan dito ng investigation pa, marami ka pang i-interviewin dito, marami ka pang titingnang anggulo. Kaya nga kung magbabasa kayo ng social media, medyo nababash yung group na nag-investigate kasi meron na kagad silang mga conclusion right away na hindi pa natatapos yung investigation. Halimbawa, wala pang medico legal, meron na kagad na parang statement na inilabas, no? Kaya talagang importante na ang mga kapulisan din ay marunong din ng ng research process na simple lang ang research. Hindi ka magbibigay ng conclusion nang hindi ka nag-investigate, nang hindi ka dumadaan sa proseso. Kasi pag nagbigay ka ng conclusion at mali ang data na pinresent mo at ang social media ay buhay na buhay ngayon, yari ka sa social media. All right. So that is an example of case study. Another type of research is survey research. Kung kanina, konti lang yung possible respondents, ito marami. This is used to gather relatively limited data from relatively large number of cases. No? So halimbawa, pwede kang mag-survey about whether they are in agreement with the vaccine. No? Meron bang vaccine ng Pilipinas? Kasi nagkakagulo-gulo ngayon Sabi nila meron na raw vaccine pero ang sabi naman ng DOST, BFAD, FDA, wala pa silang ina-approve sa Pilipinas para gamitin. Pero ang balitang kumakalat ngayon, meron na raw mga nabavaccinate. Narinig niyo ba 'yon? Totoo ba na kayo raw ang number 1 na uunahin daw na i-vaccinate ang mga ang mga PNP employees? Tama ba? O mali ang balita?
Sabi sa balita, sir, armed forces daw.
Armed forces daw ang uunahin. Oo, parang ganun according to the news. Kaya nga.
Yes, sir. Kaya nagreklamo yung mga nurses na frontliners, sir. But daw, sundalo.
Oo, yun. Nagreklamo yung mga healthcare workers. Actually, lahat naman prone ngayon hindi lang nurse, hindi lang police, lahat naman kahit nga mga teachers ngayon prone malapit din sa sa virus na yan Kaya lang ang issue ngayon kung sino mauuna. So pwede kayo magpa-survey ngayon whether the community is accepting the idea that the armed forces of the Philippines should be the first group of people to be vaccinated, di ba? Ang problema pa natin ngayon, hindi pa natatapos yung COVID-19, may bagong strain na naman. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa man fully na vaccinate yung pang COVID-19. Ang problema naman natin ngayon, bagong vaccine na naman para sa bagong strain ng virus. Kaya hindi na natapos yung virus natin. So that can be done using survey research. So the purpose is to gather information about the prevailing conditions or about the variables under study. The next type of, maraming types of survey. Merong total population, ibig sabihin in-involve mo lahat. Merong sample survey, social survey, school survey, public opinion survey, poll survey, market survey, comparative, longitudinal, cross-sectional, job analysis, community, and correlation. From among those surveys, ang very applicable sa inyo, no? Sa inyong mga kapulisan, siguro, unahin na natin itong public opinion survey. No? Lalo na yung huling kaganapan sa Tarlac, Paniki Tarlac ba yun? Na parang, alam mo naman ng social media, nandahil sa isang insidente, may nabasa nga ako nandahil sa isang pulis, nadamay lahat ng kapulisan. Yung image ng lahat ng kapulisan ay nagkaroon ng pintura. Kumbaga napinturahan. So pwede kayo magkaroon ng public opinion survey. Parang trust survey, no? Parang mga presidente, vice president, no? Merong poll survey na tinatawag, no? Or social survey, pwede nyo gawin yan. Ano pa ba? Kung kayo ay head ng isang departamento, pwede nyo gamitin ng job analysis survey. Parang how satisfied are your employees, are your PNP staff in the department, parang gano'n. And then, of course, we also have the assessment or evaluation studies. This refers to the study on the efficiency or effectiveness of policies, instruments, or the variables that may be considered. No? Halimbawa, pwede nyong i-evaluate ang effectiveness ngayon ng ano ba ang gusto nating i-evaluate. Effective ba ang DOH? Of course, baka mabaril na ako dito, no? Yung DOH sa kanilang programa sa pagsugpo sa virus, no? Na hindi na tayo naubusan ng virus cases, parang paulit-ulit na lang. Or yung lately, yung New Year, naging effective ba ang programa ng DOH sa yung bawal ang paputok? Bawal ang paputok, no? Parang ganon. That is an example of assessment or evaluation studies. Sa PNP ba, meron ba kayong part kayo ng IATF, ano? Isa kayo sa mga nag-i-implement ng IATF. So yun, is the implementation or monitoring of IATF effective? Pag sinabi bang bawal lumabas yung mga below 17 and above 65 ay talaga bang hindi nakakalabas? Parang gano'n.
May nagsisimba, sir.
Ano na?
May nagsisimbang 15 years old.
15 na ngayon. 15. Binababa. Akala ko 17. 15. Oh. Bawal ba talaga lumabas ang 15 at 60? 60 ba o 65? 65
po.
65, oo. At take note, parang yung dating MGCQ, nagbalikan sa GCQ, baka pabalik na naman tayo doon sa ECQ. So ang tanong ngayon is, how effective is the implementation of IATF? Kasi parang parang imbis na nag-i-improve tayo, parang lalo tayong nagiging worse, sorry for the term. Parang hindi nag-i-improve yung condition natin. Kasi yung nag-i-improve na, tingnan nyo, binawi ni Presidente yung face-to-face dapat nagagawin sa Department of Education. Kung nababalitaan nyo yon, na dapat ibabalik na yung January sa mga selected low-risk areas. Ang tanong dun is, how effective is IATF implementation? Baka hindi masyado kasi hindi natitigil yung virus na yan. Comparative studies is done when you would like to compare the result in the differences in certain characteristics according to variable considered, no? Ito, sige, medyo maging medical tayo ng konti. Halimbawa, meron kang dalawang high blood na kasamahan. Yung isa nagtitake ng losartan. Hindi, parehas pala. Nagtitake ng anti-hypertensive drugs, no? Or gamot. Kasi isa, binibigyan mo ng pineapple juice. Alin kaya mas effective? Yung merong pineapple juice o wala? Kasi sabi nila, effective daw ang pineapple juice. Sabi naman nila, effective daw ang bawang at kung ano-ano pa. So that is what you call comparative studies. No? Correlational studies explores the relationship between two or more variables. Ito yung commonly na pinapagamit ko sa inyo kasi unang-una, pinakamadali na type of research. Kasi ang kailangan mo lang hanapin ay independent at dependent variable. Pag sinabing dependent, as the term implies, dependent is independent. Dependent is dependent variable is dependent on independent variable. Ibig sabihin, any changes that happen in the dependent variable are caused by the independent variable. For example, bakit ka umiiyak? Maraming reason ng pag-iyak, di ba? That is what you call dependent variable. And the reasons for crying are example of independent variables. And usually, one variable is X and the other variable is Y. So meron ka ritong X and Y. Halimbawa, work performance and compensation and benefits. Alin doon yung dependent variable? Somebody please? Anybody? Anyone?
Sir, pakiulit po.
Halimbawa, work performance at saka compensation and benefits. Alin dun yung dependent variable?
Yung work performance, sir.
Very good. Because work, sino sumagot? Okay, thank you. Tama, because work performance is dependent on compensation and benefits. So ganun ang correlational research. Ganun ang logical and correct way of thinking ng independent saka dependent variable. So ang independent variable mo is compensation and benefits, no? Pero this independent variable can be manipulated. Hindi lang compensation and benefits, baka naman good relationship between superior and subordinate. Kaya nagpe-perform ng mabuti yung employee, di ba? Hindi lang naman puro pera ang hindi lang naman puro pera ang trabaho eh. Bibihira naman sa empleyado ang puro pera, mukhang pera. Minsan the way you deal with them, the way you communicate with them, no? Nagkakaroon ngayon ng good work performance, no? Yung support, for example, ng organization, yung moral ng empleyado, lalo ng kapulisan, mas mataas ang moral siguro, mas magiging maganda ang performance ng mga employees. So that is what you call correlational research. Tracer study, wag na, hindi applicable sa inyo yan, pang-eskwelahan yan. Trends and projection, pang-school din yan, hindi applicable sa inyo yan. Yung applicable lang yung i-discuss ko. O documentary analysis, pwede ito sa inyo. This involves the gathering of information by analyzing written records and documents to solve a problem. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung mga available na records sa inyo, ina-analyze nyo na lang. No? Halimbawa, ang written records ngayon, hindi lang written records, lahat ng documented records, either written or video. In your case, pwede yung gamitin ang CCTV, di ba? Di ba minsan pag nag-analyze kayo ng situation, I do not know kung highly involved kayo sa mga ganon. Minsan di ba hanapan niyo ng CCTV footage, di ba? Or minsan naman pag meron kayong case na sinosolve to the point na pati yung cellphone ng involved na mga tao ay hinihingan nyo ng data, di ba? Or minsan naman, kung merong wiretapping, nag-wiretapping ba ang PNP? Hindi. Bawal, no? Bawal ang wiretapping. O minsan naman, hihingi kayo ng kung merong mga nang ba-blackmail through email, ang titingnan nyo dyan ay yung sa IT, yung ginamit na IP address, di ba? May nag-i-email sa inyo, may nag-i-email, may napangit ang mga content ng email. Pwedeng matrace yan using IP address eh. Di ba? Alam mo kung taga saan, alam mo kung kanino nakapangalan. O ito pa late, hindi naman latest, matagal na to kaya lang bibihira. GPS. Di ba? Matitrace mo ngayon. So, ibig sabihin, these records are actually available already, no? And these are in the form of documentary analysis. Pwede kang gumawa ng research through documentary analysis. Kaya ang CCTV ngayon ay importante na, lalo sa mga kapulisan. Tama ba ako? Malaking tulong sa kapulisan ang CCTV sa pagsasolve ng mga crimes sa community. Alright? Okay. So yung experimental research, hindi ko na i-discuss yan kasi hindi applicable sa inyo mga kapulisan. Baka masyado ng toxic sa inyo. Siguro descriptive research pwede na. Hindi ko na to i-discuss. Kung gusto niyo, message niyo lang ako, bibigyan ko kayo ng special session about these designs kung gusto niyo matutunan. Pero sa ngayon, I don't think na applicable to sa inyo at baka ma-overwhelm na rin kayo sa sobrang dami ng i-discuss ko yan. No? And saka hindi naman kayo mag-experimental eh. Usually ginagawa to ng mga teachers, ng mga medical practitioners, no? Okay. So yun yung tawag dito, Yun yung para dun sa descriptive research. Punta na tayo ngayon sa method, sa sa population and sample. So when you say population and sample, population means the entire possible number of respondents. Pag sinabing sample, that is the subset of the population. Ibig sabihin, kung napakarami ng possible respondents mo, hindi mo sila kayang lahat kunin, mag-sample size ka lang. So sample is the subset of the population. And you need to use the appropriate sampling design and sample size. So meron tinatawag na sampling design, such as probability and non-probability sampling design, and sample size. Ayan, na-discuss ko na pala yan. So, when you say sampling designs, one of them is probability sampling designs. Ibig sabihin ng probability, nagiging hindi ka bias. You're giving all the respondents an equal chance to be selected in your research paper. Hindi ka namimili dito. Kumbaga sa lottery, no? It involves the use of random selection process to select a sample from members or elements of a population. So the goal is to examine the representativeness of the elements of the population. So meron mga different ways in which probability sampling can be done. Pwedeng simple random, stratified random, cluster, and systematic. Let's discuss them one by one later. Another sampling design is non-probability. Ito yung opposite ng probability. Pag sinabing non-probability, the elements are chosen from the population by a non-random method. So if your population, for example, is 400, population mo 400, and your alpha is 0.05, ang tanong ngayon is what is your supposed to be sample size? Pag nag-compute ka, pwede kang gumamit ng Sloven's formula. Kung traditionally, Sloven's formula. Ito yung formula. Small n is equal to capital letter N over 1 plus capital letter N alpha squared. So i-distribute mo lang yung capital letter N, which is 400, and then yung alpha, which is 0.05. I-square mo lang yon para makuha mo yung small letter n. So ito na yon. So 400 over 1 plus 400 times 0.05 squared. Kasi may square dun eh, no? So therefore, 400 over 1 plus 400 times 0.0025. So ang lalabas niyan, 400 over 1 plus 1 or 400 over 2, which is 200. So ibig sabihin, kung 400 ang total respondents mo, out of 400, ang kailangan mo ay 200. Nakuha niyo po ba yon? That is the traditional way in computing your sample size. Traditional. Ibig sabihin, panahon pa ito ni Mahoma. Pero marami ng mga makabagong pamamaraan para kayo ay mag-compute. Kayo naman ay mga techie, try nyo i-google Rowsoft, R-O-U-S-O-F-T, Rowsoft, or G-Power. Yun ngayon ang mga technology-based computation of the sample size. Pero kung gusto niyo mag-manual, ito yon. Kung gusto niyo mabilis, technology na gamitin niyo, system na ang gamitin niyo. Alright? So when we say probability sampling design, the first one is simple random. So ang gagawin mo, assign a number to each member of the population and then select a sample through a table of random numbers. O simple lang yan, para kayo nagpaparaffle nung Christmas party, lahat ng pangalan, ilagay nyo dun sa bowl and then bunot kayo, di ba 400 kanina, yung possible respondents, and then bunot kayo ng 200. O random yon. Hindi mo nakikita ngayon yung pangalan, no? When you say naman stratified, divide the population into subgroups or strata, and then a simple random sample is taken from each of these subgroups. Pag sinabing strata, layers yan or groups. Halimbawa, sa PNP, ang alam ko, meron kayo dyang uniform and non-uniform. Tama ba? Tama, alright. So kung ang gagamitin nyo ay mga PNP employees, meron kang dalawang grupo. Meron kang uniformed employees and non-uniform PNP employees. And then from there, magra-random sampling ka. Bunot ka lang ng mga pangalan. O pag sinabi namang cluster, mas malaki na to. Groups rather than people are selected. O pag sinabing cluster, halimbawa sa Pampanga, meron bang tinatawag na San Fernando cluster ng PNP? Or San Simon?
Per municipality, sir.
Per municipality.
Yes, sir.
Ganun ano, per group ano. So cluster
Yes, sir.
ang tawag doon. Kasi malakihan na. O pag sinabi namang systematic, you obtain listing of the population and then you determine sample size, then select every Kate element. Halimbawa, kung 400 ang total respondents pero 200 lang yung na-compute mo, 400 divided by 200 is equal to ilan? Ilan? 400 divided by 200? 2, galing. So, ibig sabihin, chinecheck ko lang kung gising pa kayo, baka may tinutulugan nyo na ako eh. Ibig sabihin, every second ang kukunin yung respondents. Halimbawa, meron kang 400, no? Bibilang ka. 1, 2. Ito ang first respondent mo. 3, 4. Second respondent mo. 5, 6. So, every second element ng listahan mo. Ang tawag doon, systematic random sampling. Hanggang sa ma-derive mo yung 200 na target sample size mo. Nakuha niyo po ba yon? That is probability sampling design. Now, let's proceed to non-probability. When you say non-probability, one of them is convenience sampling, accidental or incidental. This involves choosing readily available people or objects for study. No, halimbawa, gusto mong mag-interview ng mga mag-further investigate doon sa hotel sa nangyari doon sa pagkamatay ng flight attendant. Pupunta ka doon. So kung sino yung maabutan mo doon ng mga ano bang tawag dito sa mga employees ng ng hotel employees, no? Yung mga tawag dito. Front
Receptionist.
Ha?
Front desk. Receptionist, sir.
Mga receptionist, front desk, saka mga employee. Kung sino maabutan mo doon, sila yung interviewin mo. At pwede kang magtanong kung ano talaga yung nangyari, kung may idea sila sa ganyan, etc. etc. Ang tawag doon ay convenience sampling. Ang problema lang sa convenience sampling, baka mamaya yung ma-interview mo, hindi naman talaga naka-witness ng situation. Baka ang ibigay sa'yo, hearsay lang din, narinig niya lang din. Kaya itong non-probability sampling, hindi ko masyadong recommended kasi hindi siya advisable. O snowball. It involves the assistance of subjects to help obtain other potential subjects. Ibig sabihin, snowball, nakapag-interview ka ng isang front desk, tapos sasabihin mo ron, meron ka ba bang isang kilala na may alam sa sitwasyon? So, i-refer ka niya sa isa pang tao. Halimbawa, yung janitor. I-refer ka sa janitor ng hotel. At siya naman ang interviewin mo. Snowball. Kumbaga, ang another term dito is networking. Parang kumikilala ka, i-refer mo ako sa kilala mo, at yung kilala mo na yun, magre-refer din sa akin, and so on and so forth. Parang pyramiding. Networking ang tawag. No? Or quota. Pag sinabing quota, ikaw magbibigay ng percentage. Halimbawa, out of 100, gusto ko lang ay 50%. Or 20% lang, parang gano'n. And then purposive sampling or judgmental sampling, ito yung pinakamaganda sa lahat. You select the subjects, no, based on the researcher's beliefs are typical or representative of the accessible population. Ibig sabihin, ito talaga yung nakakaalam. Judgmental, kasi bakit? Based on judgment, you know that these respondents or these subjects can really give you enough information. So, ibig sabihin, ang pwede mong tanungin dito, yung mga witness, yung mga tao na talagang naka-witness ng incident na yon. Hindi ka magtatanong ng mga tao na hindi naka-witness. Kaya purposive siya. Meron kang criteria na kino-consider para maging respondent sila. So those are what we call non-probability sampling design. Now let's proceed to instrumentation. Under pa rin to ng methods ha. Part of the methods is instrument. There should be an appropriate choice and description of the instrument and the detailed procedures on how the instrument will be constructed or was constructed. Now, there are two types of instrument. One is researcher constructed instrument. And the other one is standardized or reliable instrument. Kung papipiliin ako sa dalawa, mas gusto ko na yung standardized reliable instrument. Kasi bakit? Reliable na siya, pwede mo na siyang gamitin right away. Kasi valid and reliable na siya. How would you know if the instrument is valid and reliable? Meron tinatawag na Cronbach's alpha. Cronbach's. Cronbach's. C-R-O pala. Cronbach's. And then alpha. Cronbach's alpha. And this Cronbach's alpha is ranging from 0 to 1. The more the value gets closer to 1, the higher the validity and reliability. The question now is, what is the acceptable value? It is going to be 0.7. Dapat 0.7. Any value that is below 0.7, then hindi siya reliable or hindi siya acceptable. So, ang gagawin mo doon, kung reliable na siya, may Cronbach's alpha na, hindi ka na magte-test ng reliability and validity test and validity. Kasi nga, i-adapt mo na lang siya, ipapaalam mo na lang sa original author. However, if you construct your own instrument, Mr. Manuel, lalo ikaw ay nasa thesis writing, you need to subject the instrument for validity and reliability testing. Mahaba-habang procedure yon. Alright? But what is important when you say instrument of the study, the instrument must be valid and reliable, and there should be adequate information pertaining to the validity. Yung sinasabi kong Cronbach's alpha of the instrument. And of course, when you say instrument, these are what we call data collection instruments. This should be clearly identified and described. There should also be scoring procedures. And nabanggit ko na kanina, it should be valid, reliable. Huwag na yung sensitive and specific kasi itong dalawa na to, pang medical to, pang medicine research ito, hindi to applicable sa inyo. So validity and reliability lang pwede na. Alright? And then you should also be doing a pilot study because you need to include that in your research. If there are questions or contents of the instruments that cannot be understood by the respondents, then you should do a pilot study. Okay, so these are the different tools in generating data. It can be in the form of observation, questionnaire, interview, or test. Itong tests, anto sa mga teachers to. So, hindi ko na i-discuss itong mga different types of content of validity and reliability procedures. Pwede ko ibigay na lang yung nito, yung PowerPoint presentation, pero medyo mahaba kasi ito. Again, gagawin nyo lang to kapag yung instrument niyo ay hindi valid and reliable. Take note that your instrument must have a value of 0.7 and above. Ito yun, high correlation. Ibig sabihin, high reliability. Lalo naman kung 0.9, very high reliability. No? So, hindi na rin to. Alright. And finally, part ng methodology is data processing and statistical treatment. Dapat dito i-discuss niyo yung appropriateness of statistical treatment and data processing. Ang rule, lahat ng questions na na-raise ninyo or lahat ng objectives ay dapat masagot through statistical treatment kung quantitative yung paper ninyo. And when I say data processing, you should inform the reader whether you're going to do a manual data processing or software, using software data processing. Pero sa ngayon hindi na recommended ang manual. Ano na ngayon, SPSS, mga software computation na ngayon, mga few clicks away lang pwede na kayo magkaroon ng data results, no? But what I would like to highlight this time is before you data gather, before you process your data, meron data gathering na tinatawag. And you must be informed of what we call Data Privacy Act, no? You need to ensure that the data that you will be gathering will be kept confidential with utmost confidentiality. And also, you do not force your respondents to be part of your study. Kaya mayroon tinatawag na informed consent. Kapag hindi po magiging respondents ninyo na maging part ng study, then hindi sila pwedeng pilitin. And finally, part ng chapter ng methodology is yung tinatawag na ethical consideration. Your paper must be reviewed ethically. Pag sinabing ethical, dalawa lang 'yan. It should not produce harm and it should be beneficial. Pag yung study ninyo ay nag-produce ng harm sa respondents, harm physically, emotionally, cognitively, socially, lahat, makapag-produce ng harm, hindi siya ethical. Kapag yung paper ninyo walang benefits, hindi rin siya ethical. Alright? Kapag yung paper ninyo ay nag-involve ng too young, ano yung too young? Yung mga, sa batas kasi ang 17 and below, too young pa yan. No? Mga immature people pa yan. Or too old. Or yung mga tao na mga insane, yung mga hindi dapat sumasagot pero pinapasagot ninyo, mga nasa mental hospital, no? Or nag-i-involve ng mga issues about religion, hindi dapat. Unethical 'yon. Kasi hindi sa research, hindi pinagdidebatehan ng religion. Yung mga research na nag-i-involve ng gender bias like LGBTQ involvement, hindi pwede yun. So parang ganon. Yun ang unethical research papers. So anything that will disrupt or produce unwanted feelings, no? Or uncomfortable situation or feelings, yun ay unethical. Dalawa lang yun. You do not produce harm and dapat beneficial. Yun lang yung dalawang yung tatandaan kapag kayo ay gumawa ng research. That should be part of the methodology. All right? So the third part of your, and the final part of your IMRAD is results and discussion. Ano pinagkaiba ng results and discussion? Kapag results, you are going to present the findings of the study based on the objectives of the study. Remember kanina meron tinatawag na TIOC. Anong ulit yung letter O sa TIOC?
Objective, sir.
Objective, o yun. So kung ang objective ninyo is to determine the effect of compensation and benefits on employees' work performance, dapat sa results, yun ang ipipresent ninyo. Tatlo lang ipipresent ninyo. Unang-una, ipresent nyo yung compensation and benefits. Pangalawa, ipresent ninyo yung work performance ng employees, yung IBDV. Pangatlo, yung effect. Kung merong effect yung compensation and benefits sa work performance. That's how we present the results. And we can also include tables in the result area, tables or figures to present the data. Pero dapat may analysis din siya. What is discussion? Ang pinagkaiba ng discussion sa result, this is where you're going to go back to your literature, you read again the literature, and then you corroborate. Sabihin ng corroborate, hahanapin mo ngayon yung mga findings na kaparehas ng findings ng study mo. Supporting findings in the past, no, that you can use to corroborate with your current research paper. So sa discussion, meron mga citations dyan kasi according to authors yan. Yun ang pinagkaiba ng results and discussion. Ang discussion, merong citation. Ang results, wala. Ang introduction, meron din na citation. Kasi galing sa literature ang introduction lalo na yung trends and issues. May citations yun, no? And then yung methodology, pwede rin magkaroon ng citation kapag sinite mo yung definition ng research design mo. Kapag sinite mo yung pinanggalingan ng instrument mo. Kapag sinite mo yung pinanggalingan ng tawag dito? Ng Likert scale, no? Kasi baka gumamit ka ng Likert scale, dapat may pinanggalingan na may citation yan. All right? So that is the completion now of IMRAD format or introduction, methods, results, and discussion. And do not forget, ang iba kasing part, nagpapalagay ng conclusion. Dapat yung conclusion ay based doon sa findings ng study. Pinag-usapan na natin kanina yan. Hindi kayo dapat mag-over-conclude or mag-over-generalize. And of course, references that should observe APA format. Pag kayo ay gumawa ng references, APA format ang gagamitin ninyo. Mag-Google kayo, i-type nyo lang APA 7th format, ibibigay na sa inyo yung mga formatting. No? Hindi ko na i-discuss dito kasi yung karamihan naman dyan nasa Google na. Pwede nyo nang i-Google. Alright, so to summarize, take note na yan, meron tayong title, author of the research paper, the abstract, and then tingnan nyo introduction, napakaiksi lang, TIOC, methods, ayan yon, and then results, and then discussion. Yan yung IMRAD format natin. Siguro mga lang yan, 6 to 10 pages lang yan, hindi ganun kahaba. Tapos single space pa. And then of course, references. I got this from the published actual publication. No? So yan. Thank you. May tanong ba kayo? Any question or clarification with regards to IMRAD format? Sakto, mag-12. Hindi, 11:56 pala. May 4 minutes pa. Any question about IMRAD format? Any question about how to write IMRAD format? May natutunan ba kayo sa pagsusulat ng IMRAD format?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Meron, sir.
So kakayanin ba na sumulat ng IMRAD?
Magpo-poll survey kami, sir. Magagamit yung survey niyan.
Yung poll survey, ayan, tama. Oo. So magiging design mo is descriptive survey research. Ang galing. Diba? Meron na kayong design. Good, may natutunan. I'm happy. Sir Corpus. Sir Corpus, anong iyong rank ngayon?
Police Corporal, sir. Bali, PO2, sir, yung dating rank.
PO2, Police Corporal.
Apa.
Di ako familiar Mataas na yon.
Hindi, sir. Second lowest rank, sir.
Okay. PO2.
Pinaka-start po namin is PO1, sir. Then PO2, PO3. Tapos senior police officer 1, 2, 3, 4, ganun, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, ang tawag ngayon, police corporal. Okay. Hindi kasi
Apo.
familiar
Para sa police non-commissioned officer po yun, sir. Pag police commission officer, sir, yung lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, sir. Up to general po.
All right. Good. Alam ko na ngayon, yung mga hindi ko kasi familiar yan. Sige. Any question so far? May clarification po ba tayo? Sir Manuel.
May tanong lang po.
Yes. Alam ko na, nag-thesis writing ka
Kung wala po akong makuhang sir, example lang sa blind spot, sir, sa topic ko, di magge-generate ako, sir, ng sarili ko. Sa topic.
Kung blind spot ang problem mo, ibig sabihin ko, konti yung literature, magka-qualitative
Yes, sir.
ka. Qualitative approach.
Yes, sir. Paano po mag-generate ng hypothesis, sir? Pag
Ang
ganun.
qualitative walang hypothesis. May another way para gawin ang qualitative research.
Hindi po siya hypothesis eh.
Wala siyang hypothesis.
Okay.
It's actually framework development or theory generation. Mag-generate ka ng theory. Kaya ang
Generation.
hypothesis mo or theory, sa dulo yun. Ang quantitative, sa una ang theory. Una pa lang, meron ka ng theoretical framework or and hypothesis. Sa qualitative, nasa dulo siya kasi yun ang madidevelop mo.
Oh. Isa pa, sir.
Sige.
Pwede pong kumuha ng literature dun sa mga sa not publicized na thesis.
Unpublished research paper. Kung ako tatanungin niyo, kung standard ang pag-uusapan, I do not recommend unpublished research paper. I do not recommend that. Kasi dapat published research paper lang ang tinatanggap ngayon kasi sila yung mga nag-undergo ng peer review. Ibig sabihin may quality siya. Wala ba kayong access?
Nawala na, sir eh.
EBSCO. Wala kayong access sa EBSCO?
Wala.
Sa lang.
Wala na po.
Wala na. Sige.
Wala na po.
Sige, i-message nyo ako at bibigyan ko kayo ng access ng EBSCO para mabigyan kayo ng ID and password para lahat ng literature ninyo ay maging galing sa publication. I-message nyo ako, i-send ko yung ID and password siguro later.
Thank you, sir.
Oo.
Yun lang po, sir, sa akin.
Ang Facebook ko naman, searchable Alvin Villegas. No, lang naman eh.
Okay.
Alright, so now, let's go back to the golden question. Kasi sino ba nang-suggest kanina na mag-lecture muna ako bago mag-votation? Si Jason. Sir Jason?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Sige. So ngayon, more or less, nakapag-isip na kayo, no? Pwede na ba tayo mag-votation kung kayo ay gagawa ng IMRAD paper? Sige, gawin nating 1 month or magsa-summarize within sabi kasi kanina maiksi daw 2 to 3 days. Gawin nating 1 week. Paano na lang po ganito. Yung mag-heart, ibig sabihin, majority wins to ha. Yung mag-heart ay gagawa ng IMRAD, no? Yung thumbs up, magsa-summarize ng mga recorded video, including this one. Kasi ito recorded na to, i-upload ko to sa YouTube. Kasama to. Sige nga, let's vote. Ready? Ready na po ba ang inyong mga Sir John? Yes, Sir Corpus.
Sir, tanong lang namin. Pag IMRAD, sir, included yung chapter 1, 2, and 3?
Hindi, actually, IMRAD lang. Introduction,
okay.
Results, discussion. Yung lang, yung 6 to 10 pages lang na, kaya lang, ang lang dito, magde-data gathering ka, mag-statistical ka, mag-analyze ka. Of course, yung complete research paper, pero hindi chapters 1 to hindi chapters 1 to 4 or chapters 1 to 5. IMRAD ang format. May introduction, may methodology. Diniscuss ko kanina yung lahat ng contents, no? May results at saka may discussion. Ibig sabihin, part na magiging submission ninyo is nakapag-data gather kayo, nagpa-stat kayo, and then nag-analyze din kayo ng data ninyo. Yun ang IMRAD. Kaya bibigyan ko kayo ng ng mahaba-habang time, mga 1 month siguro.
Mag-heart na po si DJ niyan, sir.
Mag-heart na si DJ.
Yes, sir.
Oo. Sige. Let's start the voting, no? Sige, at the count of 3. Sir John Ralph, are you there? Sir John Ralph M. Rakidan. Para ma-count natin ang vote mo. Wala. Wala siya. Sige. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. 10 na mag-vote. Sige nga, let's start the voting na para matapos na natin ang ating dilemma. Okay, may nag-isa ng thumbs up. 2, second thumbs up, 3. Bakit clap? Ay, hindi ka kasama, Mr. Manuel. Hindi ka pala kasama.
Hindi ako kasali, sir. Eh.
Kaya clap sa'yo. Meron ng 3 thumbs up. Yung iba? Yung iba pong... Yung iba
Still
pong...
undecided.
Undecided. Ano yan?
Sir, kasi yung kasing nakikita ko, yung maganda rin kasing IMRAD, sir, kasi maliban doon sa nagkapagbigay po kayo sa amin ng magandang inputs, medyo inspired kami doon sa discussion niyo. Maganda siya. At tapos mahaba po yung binibigay yung period. So, a month or so, hindi ko po alam, a month. Medyo matagal po yung lab, considering po sa amin sa araw-araw namin trabaho, sir. Yung sir, maganda rin sana yun sa i-summarize, kaya lang very short period. Actually, maganda rin pong gawin pareho, sir.
Kasi pag nag-summarize kayo, para rin kayo nagre-refresh.
Yes, sir.
Na ang point ko, pag pinagawa kayo ng policy research ng DABSU as part of your requirement sa graduation, alam ko pagagawin kayo na aside from immersion, kasi non-thesis kayo, gagawa rin kayo ng research paper. Pero hindi na yung chapters 1 to 4. Ano lang siya, parang IMRAD format nga ang ipapagamit.
Yes, sir.
Kaya tinuro ko ngayon. Kaya lang, alam ko, hindi pa naman kayo i-record ni Doc Dali na mag-submit ngayon. Siguro after the immersion pa, no?
Yes, sir. After...
Either of the two naman, magagamit nyo parehas. Diba? Gumawa kayo ng IMRAD, magagamit nyo siya doon sa final requirement ninyo. Kung sakali mang piliin nyo yung pagsa-summarize, magagamit nyo rin doon sa paggawa ng final requirement nyo kasi marireview nyo ngayon. Mas marami pa kayo matututunan kasi marami kayo ngayon mapapakinggang lectures. Kasi itong sa akin ngayon ay shorter version ng IMRAD. Pero pag pinakinggan nyo pa ibang lectures, mas matututunan nyo pa kung ano ibig sabihin ng validity and reliability, how to develop an online survey instrument, how to do an ethical research paper, APA format, etc. etc. Marami akong lectures doon na pwede nyo maging input later on sa pagpa-finalize niyo na requirement niyo para sa MPA ng thesis. Parang ganon. Kaya ko naman ginawang shorter lang yung pakikinig, yung pagsa-summarize. Kasi may headset ka lang, let's say free time mo, may headset ka, papakinggan mo, kung ayaw mong panoorin, pakinggan mo lang. Tapos yung natutunan mo doon, yun ay sa-summary mo. Yun ay sa-summarize mo, I'm sorry. Yun. Pero yung isang pinapagawa ko, yun talaga, susulat ka. Susulat ka ng introduction, ibig sabihin magre-review ka ng literature, gagawa ka ng methodology, maghahanap ka ng standardized instrument, magpapaalam ka doon sa community na paggagawa mo ng research, magde-data gathering ka, magpapastat ka, mag-a-analyze ka, etc. etc. So, it's a whole, actually, para siyang buong thesis paper ang gagawin ninyo. Iba lang ang format. Shorter version lang ng... sa totoong buhay lang, itong IMRAD format, ito ang internationally accepted. Yung chapters 1 to 5, hindi yan. Pang Pilipinas lang yan. And school-based lang yung format na yan. Pero itong format na to na IMRAD na tinuro ko sa inyo, kung gusto niyo magkaroon ng publication in the future na hindi naman yata required sa inyo, at least magkakaroon kayo ngayon ng IMRAD format ngayon. So let's vote na. Kasi yun naman ang promise sa akin kanina ni Sir Jason. Sabi niya kanina, Sir, mag-discuss ka muna, magde-decide kami. Kaya, I'm done with my part. It's your time to shine. Kayo naman mag-decide, okay? So ulit tayo ulit yung counting ng votation. Sige nga, sabay-sabay magbigay ng kanilang vote, either thumbs up, summary ibig sabihin, or gagawa ng IMRAD, mag-heart. Sige nga po. So nakikita ko sa screen ko, meron ng 4, 5.
Wait,
Ani.
heart. Heart si Sir Sason.
May isang nag-heart, si Sir Sason. Gagawa siya ng IMRAD. Sino pa? 7. 7 na yung nag-thumbs up. Isa nag-heart. So, 8. May 2 pang hindi bumoboto. Oh,
Majority.
O yan, sige. Sige, ganito. Kung yung dalawa, parang nararamdaman ko si Sir Sason at saka si Sir Corpus gustong gumawa ng IMRAD. Tama ba ang pakiramdam ko? Sige. For the both of you, papayagan ko kayo na gumawa ng IMRAD. Ha? Pero yung 8, yung iba, kasi syempre hindi lang kayo, may iba pang kasama eh. Kayo na lang mag-share no na napag-usapan natin. Pero ang deadline ng submission ninyo ng summary, kung ngayon ay yung January 6, January 12 submission ng summary. Kasi magsasabit din ako ng grade sa DABSU. Wala akong may sasubmit na grade kung wala kayong output. Kailangan kasi may output, hindi ako pwede manghula ng grade eh. Kailangan merong basis yung grade, no? Evidence-based nga eh. So ibig sabihin,
Mag-summarize lang ako, sir.
bakit? Baka bumagsak ka.
Tuwad ako mabot sa deadline, sir.
Yun nga eh. Kasi ganito ang pwede naman. Ang gagawin ko, January 12 ang deadline. Kasi na ako eh, matagal na akong pina-follow up dito sa grade na to. Kaya lang gusto ko nga based on output. January 13 ako magsasubmit. So ibig sabihin, yung gagawa ng IMRAD, i-INC ko muna. Tapos sa katapusan, kapag kayo ay nakagawa ng output, saka ko papalitan yung INC nyo ng bagong grade. Depende dun sa magiging output ninyo. Babasahin ko at depende yung grade sa output ninyo. So mamili kayo. Kasi kailangan na mag-submit sa 13 ng grade. Sir Sason, ikaw, did you change your mind? Summary na lang. Nabuwasan na ng isa.
Summary na lang lahat, sir.
Alam ko ba, no retreat, no surrender, Sir Corpus?
Di ako sa deadline, sir.
Sige, so magsa-summary na lang daw sa Sir Corpus.
Pero sir, hindi kasama yun sa webinar.
Hindi kasama yung webinar. Yung
May nakita sa akong webinar dyan, sir eh.
Yung sa University of Batangas.
Opo yata.
Huwag na yun.
Ay, including sa May Kawayan ba yun, sir?
Yung alin?
Pati sa May Kawayan po yata yun? May Kawayan?
Ay, yung May Kawayan College, yun, generic ang lecture ko doon, pati pang-DABSO din yun.
Okay, sir.
Oo. Kasi meron din akong hawak na EDD ng DABSO. Pinapa-attend ko rin sila ng lectures ko doon. Kasi alam mo naman ngayon ang online, hindi naman kailangan 50 lang. Pwede ka mag-attend yan ng 100, 200, na lahat nakikinig. So pinapasabay ko na minsan yung mga taga-DABSO. So research din ang hawak ko sa EDD ng DABSO sa inyo.
Pero sa Batangas, sir, hindi na, sir?
Yung Batangas, wag na. Kasi lecture ko yun sa University of Batangas when I was invited as speaker. In-upload ko. So, minus Batangas and minus statistics. Lahat ng research lectures na nandun, including this, ay i-upload nyo doon. Teka lang i-stop ko na yung